Welcome back, you're watching the Gadgets and Gizmos show with me, Siddhartha Sharma. Now, wouldn't it be really cool if you could own your very own robo? It looks like a plot from a Hollywood blockbuster where an amazing scientist builds his identical looking android for the betterment of mankind. But that is far from fiction. A Danish scientist has made his identical looking android, calling it the Gemenoid DK. Our very own Shiv caught up with him and his creation at the India Today conclave in an up-close and personal conversation. Have a look.
He's variously been described as one of the most influential persons in the world today in the field of robotics. His research goes into the depths of the blurring lines between machines and humans and technology and the influence it has on our lives. Dr. Sharma, one of the most influential persons in the world today in his field, is with us here. Dr. Sharma, thanks very much for speaking to us. You've taken the amazing likeness that you travel with all around the world. What are some of the reactions that you've got to the android?
It's not uncommon that people refuse to believe that it's actually a robot. So they think this is a person. So we have to convince them.
In the reasonably foreseeable number of years, androids and robots won't be as uncommon perhaps as they are right now. We might actually see, applications in reasonable daily life. Could you give us a sense of what you foresee those to be?
It's very difficult to be precise about that because technological development is one thing, but the marketplace is another thing. So what I'm saying is that if we look at what's going on in the world of robotics today and extrapolate that a decade into the future, we are beginning to see the contours of full-fledged androids moving in our streets, being our personal assistants, walking the dog, bringing out groceries, picking up children from school, all these kinds of things. Is it actually going to happen? I don't know. I haven't been to the future. That depends on the market and other kinds of decisions.
But is enough being done in terms of investing in that kind of research, writing the very, I'm sure, very complex algorithms that are probably necessary that go into artificial intelligence to make machines more, quote-unquote human?
Yes. You can always use more. But major players are moving into this field like IBM, Google, people like that. And the nice thing about working with algorithms is that you can put one on top of the other. So we don't need to start from scratch. We have a lot of very mature technologies that we can use. I mean, the Google car has been driving 1 million miles without any accidents. And all the lessons learned from something like that is now ready to be scaled up to more practical applications.
Through Hollywood, through movies, there have always been worries. There have been dramatic, scenarios painted about, the concept of self-awareness, about machines turning on humans, about some of Asimov's laws, suddenly collapsing or breaking down. In the current field of research, is that something that scientists actually take into account as part of their real research?
I think the research community is a little bit divided on the matter of consciousness, but some do believe that conscious thought is simply a matter of complexity in the algorithms. Others, like myself, believe that there is a fundamental difference between biological thinking and artificial thinking. So I do see a world ahead of us where machines are intelligent and sentient and, in a sense, also aware of themselves, and with intentionality in their actions. But they're not going to be human because their bodies are different. So we're looking at a different kind of intelligence than ours.
What are some of those things that you think, in your opinion, shouldn't be done, or the roads that nobody should go down? What are some of those things?
Well, there are a couple of issues that pops right up when you think about the androids. One is that if you have something that is very human-like when you meet him, should that thing, this machine, should it have superhuman sensory capabilities, right? Like the ability to scan for infrared colors or something like that. I don't want to go down that road. If it looks like this, it should have sensory capabilities within the normal human range.
unmanned systems are already finding a great deal of use in military applications. They're deployed in war. Some of them are extremely intelligent, completely autonomous missions being flown, drones, other, unmanned ground vehicles as well. What do you feel about that? Because there are millions of dollars being spent in making these, instruments of war more precise, more lethal, giving them the ability to actually wage war on their own.
Yeah. War is very rarely a good solution to anything. But if you ask me, do I believe that we should have a military? My answer would be yes. Now, it follows from that I also believe that our soldiers should have good equipment. Drone technology is more and more commonly used in search and rescue missions. It's used in surveying of vast areas of land, pollution detection, and all those kinds of things. And that's a very good thing. So there are a number of historical occurrences where stuff that's been invented by the military is now very useful in civilian life. So these kinds of crossovers are not uncommon.
We've seen the Gemenoid DK, breathing, blinking, moving his head. It's something that amazes anybody who sees the android. Could you give us a sense of what we might expect to see either the Gemenoid DK or a future android under your control do next?
Well, again, when we look at what's happening in the labs around the world, we have people who are very good at working with artificial hands. We have others who are very good at doing walking on two legs, biped walking. And what I'm expecting to see over even the next couple of years are these technologies coming together and converging. And that's going to be quite exciting.
Speaking about the philosophical question, because that was one of your opening comments at the India Today conclave this year as well, has Gemenoid DK taught you anything about yourself? Has it made you a better person? Has it given you fresh thought about things that you never knew before about yourself, perhaps?
It's been a long journey for me, and sure, I have learned a lot about myself. The thing that keeps coming back to me is the ability of this machine to have us engage in these really, really deep questions. Regardless of educational background, where you live, where you were born, doesn't matter. When people meet this robot, we immediately engage in the questions of what kind of technological future should we have. And I think that's a wonderful thing to be part of.
It's a wonderful thing to be part of as well. Thank you very much, Dr. Henrik Shah, for speaking to Headlines today. Thank you.
Wow, that will be one cool gadget to own in the future. And on that note, it's time for us to say goodbye on this edition of Gadgets and Gizmos show. If you have any comments, queries or suggestions, tweet us at HLT Gizmos. You can also email us on htgg@aajtak.com. We'll see you same time, same place next week. But for all the news and updates, keep watching Headlines Today.